Hello everybody, this is Brian Israel Newman from Hebrew Hearts. So I just want to drive and talk a little bit. I have tremendous writer's block lately, so all of a sudden I'm doing videos, which I've never done in my life. I want to talk about loss in a sense tonight, or maybe not loss, but being thankful for time. I was watching this M. Night Shyamalan movie a few years ago, back when I was watching that kind of thing, and they're having a funeral for this little boy, and the preacher says, "We are thankful for the time we are given," and that has incredibly stuck with me ever since, and that kind of sums up my life the past few weeks. Also, just pretty much as I was 14, I started just losing people left and right. And I joined the military. You move once every year or two. And went to college. Went to 3 to 5 colleges, actually. And lost people along the way. And been through a divorce and had some very deep relationships where the people I was very close to had children. So when you lose your person you're close to, you also lose the children you're close to. So you essentially lose a family. In the past few weeks, a lot of people have left. And also, in a strange way, a lot of people have come back. Just completely out of nowhere from the past. And I think part of that is, well, I'll get back to the part of that in a minute. But a lot of people left either by choice of just, I don't want to be in your life anymore for whatever reason. There's a couple of people. I wasn't one person particularly. There was a couple of people for different reasons. And some people moved, some people switched jobs. But if you share an office with 2 other people, you're on your team, you go through all this craziness with the mental health, like people hitting you with canes and going to the police station and driving around trying to find a missing person. I mean, it's like your partner in the police department. You go through so much together, and then they leave, they move, and someone's been a part of your life for over years. Every day is just gone. And we had several people leave from my job I was really fond of or close to, or they helped me out a lot. One of them left today, who I was really close to as far as work-wise. Sunday, I was at a memorial service for my friend's husband, and I think I'd like to talk about that because he had multiple sclerosis for numerous years. And, some people die suddenly, and some people it takes a couple of years, but they know they're dying. And there's kind of a sense that comes into people when they know their time is coming, that they really value what they have left, and they really value the time they have left with people. And what I heard about him doing and watched him doing is with everybody he came in contact with, especially his probably last few months, last few years, he was very intentional, very, very intentional about every moment he spent with them. He always said thank you. He always let people know they're appreciated. He always made it a point to listen without an agenda. And despite the tremendous amount of pain he was going through physically, he always wanted to know how they were. How's their heart? How are they doing? He didn't say, "How's your heart?" It was, "How are you?" Like they said, how are you doing? He's like, "Oh, how are you?" with his finger. And that just really left an impression on me. I was good friends with his wife for 4 or 5 years. She's an accountant, and it's messianic, and just like basically my spiritual big sister. And she took really good care of him. And I know his kids, and his kids are awesome. And I just saw a little glimpse of that intentionality of every moment, being thankful for the time you were given, and also making full use of the time you were given. And that's kind of, death's a terrible thing. God never intended for it. It's a disruption, as John Eldredge says, and there's this deep knowing of not we just miss somebody. This is not how things are supposed to be. I'm going to that with another situation where it's like, no, this separation is not talking to each other. This is not how things are supposed to be. Like, we're supposed to be a part of each other's daily lives from here until the kingdom, and you're not here. And then with like Michael, he is like, and all the rest of the body of Messiah, or even every human being, like, no, this is not how it's supposed to be. We are never meant for goodbye. We're not designed for goodbye. It's not how things are supposed to be. And it's a fallen world, and our ancestors chose things, and we chose things. But it's not the intention. It's not God's intention, and it breaks God's heart. And I think since it breaks our God's heart, it breaks our God's heart, our Creator's heart, and we're His creation. It also breaks ours in a way, because we have this deep knowing this is not how He designed it to work. But like the Torah, the first 5 books of the Bible, is instructions for a fallen world. Like in Genesis, they're vegetarians, nothing died yet. But after the fall, there's a new set of rules. After the fall, we had to have all these instructions, these quote-unquote coping mechanisms for living with each other in a fallen world. For living with death, there's always instructions in the Torah about death, what to do when someone dies, the mourning periods, etc. Because all these instructions had to be introduced, these coping mechanisms for death, which is not supposed to happen. And relationships weren't intended to end, like family relationships, friendships, husband and wife relationships, parent-child relationships. These were never meant to be separated, because we're all meant to be in the kingdom and be with each other forever in peace and harmony, but we live in a fallen world. So there's always rules about divorce and whatnot in the Torah, or coping mechanisms. And I think one of the coping mechanisms we see a lot in Proverbs, Lamentations and whatnot, is to be, in different wording, to be thankful for the time we were given. To be, like Yeshua said, let your yes be yes, no be no. And everything you see in the Torah is like the constitution of the entire nation. And the book of Acts, it's the constitution of the church, how the church should interact with each other and the world. The Torah is how should the Israelites interact with the Israelites and the other nations as a national level. And then the Acts takes it to a church level, a local body level. How should believers act? How should the body of Messiah act with the rest of the body of Messiah and the world? And the Gospels is individual level. How should the individual act with other individuals? But there's a running theme of all that, of basically being thankful for the time we were given and making use of it. Let your words be true, be beautiful, be encouraging, be healing, be exhorting. They bring change when change needs to happen. They lift up the discouraged. They remind people who they are to God, and also who they are to you, and who they are to other people. Your words are supposed to bring people back into alignment with the Creator's plan for them and for the body, and for kingdom relationships. Like Jesus said, let your yes be yes, no be no. That's just one example of this interpersonal thing, how individuals should act towards each other in the limited time they are given. And like Michael, Polly's husband, was so intentional. How are you? Others focused. And he was always so encouraging and took time to listen to his kids. Because, I think he knew, like, this might be the last interaction I ever have with this person. So I'll make the best of it. And he wanted to use every moment he was with somebody to invest into that person. Because we kind of think subconsciously we're going to live forever, and all these agendas we have in our head are going to have time to play out. We always have agendas of other people a lot of times. Well, they think these agendas have time to play out, but they often don't. People aren't going to, like parents, your child might not be the doctor or lawyer you wanted them to be. And if you spend every interaction trying to prod them towards being a doctor or lawyer, you're going to miss all these opportunities to simply invest in them as a person, invest in your relationship. And if you're passing away, you're not going to witness those agendas come to fruition. There's not any possibility of it. So you simply invest. You don't plan. So you don't strategize when you're with that person. You invest in that person, which is a totally different thing. Strategizing is pushing your agenda, trying to use every interaction to build towards an agenda. But investing in that person is using every moment to put something good into them, put some truth and some beauty and some light, some identity into them. That's part of being a true romantic, instead of a strategist. Being a strategist is totally different from being a true romantic. And I think we should strive to be a true romantic, to be thankful for the time we were given, to invest in the time we were given, and when we're with other people, just to invest in that person, not in our agenda or our plan or what we need from them, but just to invest in them. And I really thought about that a lot at Michael's memorial in Charlotte. And all the people I've lost along my life, I didn't invest in a lot of them because I expect people to leave. When you invest in somebody, you get close to them. You develop a heart-to-heart. You develop a spirit-to-spirit level of communication. And you really feel it when they leave. Not just when your mind, soul, and emotions are attached to them, or maybe in a romantic thing, if your body's attached. Sometimes your body's attached. You have chemical addiction to them, etc. Sometimes your mind, will, and emotions are attached, and your hopes are attached, and that's one level. But when your spirit's attached to somebody, like usually if you're like in some level you've made a covenant with them, or you're meant to be with them, or they're meant to be a permanent part of your life, like a ministry partner, or a parent, or a brother, sister, or a spouse, or just one of those lifelong friends that's supposed to be lifelong. If they leave for some reason, you are spirit, and you have spirit-to-spirit communication, that deep, all-in, supernatural level of connection, it hurts a lot worse. So I've avoided investing in people sometimes because I know how bad that hurts, and it would hurt. So I just kind of shut off and don't let people get that close. But I look back now, all the people I've lost, especially recently, and I regret that. Regret not investing more in them and just seizing every opportunity to not be a strategist, to be an investor, to be a true romantic, to look at them and peer deeply into them and see what is unique about them that I'll never encounter another human being. And that combination of traits anyway. Every individual is different. Like every sunset is different. There's this concept in Japanese called furu. It's a samurai concept. It's part of their philosophy. Probably also the ninja. I'm a little more familiar with the ninja. But the samurai, it's philosophy, furu, where it's a fleeting beauty. Like each sunset, it has to be natural beauty. It's not something man has manufactured or created, concocted. It's not an airbrush kind of beauty. It just is. Like people, they just are. They just are however you encounter them. And it's like a certain sunset. It's natural beauty. It just is what it is. You didn't alter it to make it beautiful to you. It's beautiful the way it is when you first encountered it. And there's never been one precisely like it before ever in the history of the world. With the colors and the clouds and everything, it's just, there's never been one exactly like it before ever. And there will never again be another one exactly like it. And people are like that. There's never been one of you in history. And there will never be another of you again. So, because I think because we were created to be eternal. If we were created to be temporary, we'd be copied over and over and over again. But we were created to be eternal. Or perhaps a better translation is over everlasting. But to have a beginning point but no ending point. But it's like a sunset. You know, each person's like a sunset. There's never been another person before in history. That exact person. There might be similarities, but there's never the exact person again. And there will never be another one like that. And before they came into the world, they didn't exist. And after they pass away, we don't see them to the kingdom. So they're only here with this little bleep in our lives. And sometimes we don't know. Even if they don't pass away, they might move or have a divorce or break up or not be friends anymore, or for whatever reason, at any moment, they can just disappear from your life. So you have that fleeting moment of opportunity every time you see them to invest, to see who they are, to remind them of who they are, to remind them of what they mean to God, to you, and other people, to remind them what they're meant to do, remind them what they're designed for, remind them who they are in the kingdom and the community and in your heart. And Michael did that on a less philosophical level, I think, because it was just, you're passing away, you don't have time for philosophy. You're in reality every minute, and you just do it. And he realized his window of opportunity for showing his children he loves them and appreciates them and sees who they are, he cares about them, and his window of opportunity for his wife and his caretakers. He realized how short that window was, and I think he made full potential of that, and I really was impressed by that. That is like the essence of being ninja, of being samurai, of being a warrior, of being an artist and a lover and a parent and a spouse and a priest and a romantic, and all these things I admired in life. That's the essence of it. It's just every moment is an investment, and every moment other people. I had a song called "The Best Things We Threw Away," and one line is, any moment you might spread your wings and fly. And that's why I always say a sweet goodbye. Not just a regular goodbye, but that's why I always say a sweet goodbye. And just to be thankful for the time we were given is tremendous. So, I was thinking about that, and Yom Kippur, because Yom Kippur is basically the end of the year. And that's when Jewish thinking, it's like a scripture, but in Jewish thinking, which is a scripture-based culture, a scripture-based philosophy, Yom Kippur is the end of the year. That's the deadline. If you have something against somebody, you take care of it before Yom Kippur. If someone has something against you, you take care of it before Yom Kippur. And I think that stretches beyond forgiveness between people. I think that means if you just have something you need to say to somebody, like as John Mayer says, say what you need to say. Before Yom Kippur, you say what you need to say. And they have a tradition. It's just a tradition, but it's a beautiful tradition, and I think there's relevance to it, that the Creator decides your fate on Yom Kippur for the next 12 months. How did you handle these 12 months? And I will see if I give you another 12 months, if I give you more resources, more people, more time, more opportunities, more community, more interaction, more love, more intimacy. If I give you more of that in the next 12 months, will probably be based upon how you spent the last 12 months. And, even if you screwed up a lot of it, you can have the opportunity to say, look, Your Honor, because it's like a judgment. It's like Judgment Day. It's like going to court. I know I messed up the past 11 months and 29 days, but this is the 360, well, biblically, this is the 360th day, and I promise to do it better next year. And I'm already starting to make amends. I'm already trying to fix the mess I made the last 12 months. So these next 12 months, I'll do a lot better. So you can trust me with more. But if we are just thankful for the time we were given, I think everything in our lives will improve. When there's loss, it will hurt so much more. But loss is a momentary grieving, and that's compared to years and years of true intimacy. So if you have 20 years of true intimacy and it costs you 2 years of deep hurt, I think it's worth it. So anyway, shalom to your hearts. I really do love you guys. I'm very socially awkward. I'm incredibly socially awkward, and I get overwhelmed, and I'm an empath, so I pick up people's emotions, and I just can't take it anymore. I have to leave, but I really do love you guys, and I'm thankful for the time we are given. Shalom.